The Lost Boys was requested by a new patron of mine, Samantha Manus. Manus? Manus in the Hands of Fate? Come on. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Who has seen that episode? If you haven't seen, if you're going to watch any Mystery Science Theater 3000, if you're going to get into it, like, I'm going to check this show out. What's the episode to start with? Because you can watch any episode, doesn't really matter. Manus the Hands of Fate. That would be a strong contender. The movie would be a good one. Cave Dwellers, Pod People. Like, there's some really classic episodes, but Manus seems to be the one that's like universally loved, and I absolutely understand why. Anyway, we're not here. Just so you guys know, though, my email is Torgo the Caretaker. Okay, so I'm a big Manus the Hands of Fate fan. All right. I doubt her name's pronounced Manus, but regardless, that's what it sounded like. So that's what we're going with. We are talking about The Lost Boys. I had contemplated doing the Lost Boys sequels, The Thirst and The Tribe. I have never seen either. I do own one of them on Blu-ray because it came in a horror pack, and I had intended to buy the entire trilogy because I'm a collection horror. I'm a series horror, and I really like collecting an entire franchise. Like, if I have one, I gotta have them all. Oh, it's an illness. It's an illness. So when she requested this, it was like an instant, like, awesome. Okay, it's been a while since I've seen this. I know it's fantastic. It's just, it had been long enough that I had forgotten enough that it was fresh again for me. That was what was really cool about it. I mean, I knew the beats. Like, I knew the big, important main moments. And there wasn't any, like, surprises in the story to me or anything. But it had been many years. So it was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, I love that. And, oh, yeah, this is cool. Man, what a fantastic film. Now, the only, like, gripe I would have with it, and I know anyone would be like, blasphemy, this is a perfect movie. Your nostalgia is getting the best of you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with nostalgia filters, nostalgia glasses, or whatever you want to call it. I get it. There's plenty of films that I have nostalgia filters on, and I can't see any flaws or any issues. So this isn't a flaw, but the final fight sequence between the Frog Brothers and Sam and Michael and all against the vampires, against David and his vampires. It's fairly lackluster. Like, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I like the way things go down. I like the kills. I like this and that. But they're dispatched so quick for how strong and formidable they're supposed to be. Not the greatest. But that's okay. But I still love it. Like, I still love those sequences. I still love the bathtub kill. I still love the way that David is dispatched by, the antlers or whatever. And it's all good. It's just, yeah, would I have preferred it to be a little extended and a little more going on? And a couple deaths. I would have preferred a couple deaths. Like, kill off one of the Frog Brothers. Kill off, go crazy. Kill off, like, Corey Haim or something. Kill off Michael. Kill off the kid. I forget what his name is. The kid that's running around with the vampires. Like, do something crazy like that. Nobody dies. Not one of them. I don't know. That's a little weak for me. But outside of that, I mean, the movie is near flawless. So I don't want it to seem like I'm talking down about this movie, because I ain't. But, I'm gonna, yeah. All right. So, moving on. All right. So, the opening song and shot is iconic. I mean, the boardwalk in it's Santa Cruz where this is actually filmed, and I used to date a girl from Santa Cruz, so I have been out there, And I know Santa Cruz. I spent like a whole week there with my girlfriend Carrie, way, way, way long ago. Holy shit, I was 19, so like 600 years ago now. God, it was like a different lifetime. It's crazy how long ago that was. But okay, so I gotta get into the names here. We got Joel Schumacher directing, which, I mean, Joe Schumacher, I know when his name gets brought up, his name is unfortunately kind of tarnished a little bit because of his Batman movies, especially Batman and Robin. I'm not a huge hater on Forever, but Batman and Robin really is pretty terrible. It's funny terrible, and he's even apologized for that, said he took the money and he should have never done that. But like, let's not forget, Joel Schumacher did Falling Down, A Time to Kill, 8mm. Like, dude's done some freaking cool ass stuff, and of course Lost Boys. And we got the Coreys in here, which, if you're an 80s fan like me, and you grew up watching Corey Haim and Corey Feldman movies like License to Drive and whatnot, it's always good to see them together, paired up when they're younger kids. And then you've got the iconic, the immortal, the fucking legend Kiefer Sutherland, who's just incredible in this movie. He's always amazing, but this is like, I don't know. I mean, Jack Bauer is probably his definitive role, since, I mean, that show went like 9 seasons and had a movie and everything, and I love that show. So I'm not going to say like Jack Bauer isn't his definitive character, but it's a TV show. So for film, I would say this is probably his most iconic role. The look, like his look is iconic. Even though, like, yes, it's 80s, it's dated as all hell, whatever, I don't care. The mullet, the bleached mullet, amazing. The 5 o'clock shadow, the bleached mullet. You've even got Alex Winters in here from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, one of his lackeys there. He's got a mullet, but he's rocking it. Like, their styles, the way they carry themselves, the motorcycles, the hard attitudes, like all that stuff, it works. Like, I don't watch this and go, oh God, look how stupid their hair looks, or look how lame they dress, or like, nothing in this movie does that for me. It should. Corey Haim's outfits at times are like, I don't know, unnervingly 80s. But he's kind of dressed like a preppy idiot. But like the cool looks, like Jason Patrick, man, is fantastic in this, and he's very, very, he's sexy, and he's like tough, and he's funny at times, and he's also like he gives like a good emotional performance too at times, when he's like really upset about things, and when he's kind of changing and he's trying to figure things. I think he carries this extremely well. I don't know if Jason Patrick too well outside of this. I've seen him in stuff for sure, but like, this is for me easily his best role. Then we also have Diane Wiest in this, which I guess, I don't know, is that how you say her last name? From Edward Scissorhands. I think she's freaking just delightful in this movie. I love her like good-natured, sweetheart mom attitude, the way she interacts with her kids and all. I love it. She's such an endearing lady. It just, it's the kind of woman you want as your mom. She's wonderful. And I get the music. I mean, if I had the ability, I would, of course, dub in over Cry Little Sister on here, because like, you bring this movie up, it's like Cry Little Sister. And I love that song, and I do think that is like the song to remember from this film if you're going to talk about it with people. Like, that's the big song from the film. That's the theme song essentially. But for me, People Are Strange by the Doors always reminds me of this movie. Like, anytime I hear it, I immediately think Lost Boys. And the way that song fits in this movie, like, I'm not a big fan of opening credit sequences. I've talked about that many, many times on this. But the opening credits of this movie, where it's just showing like a montage of shots all around Santa Cruz. I know that's not what it's called in this movie, Santa Carla in the movie, but it's Santa Cruz. All the like punk rockers and all the the people around the town, and just the People Are Strange song, and I love those credits. I wouldn't fast forward those credits, and I would not want them taken out of the film. Like, I love them. So I'm not a big fan of opening credits, but I love the opening credits of this movie. And it's just people in town with a Doors song playing over it, but the way it's shot, the way it's edited, the way the music hits, it's perfect. This movie is fantastic. Like, I haven't seen it in a little while, and I will now rate it higher than I would have previously to this watch. So I'm very glad that that Samantha requested this one, because it was well timed, and I have no doubt that the sequels are terrible. I can only imagine. Corey Feldman has not made much good since God, I can't even remember the last good thing he was in that he was a part of. Fucking Bordello of Blood or something. I mean, it's been a long, long ass time. And yes, I do like Bordello of Blood. I reviewed it on the channel. I like that they came from Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I currently live. It's kind of odd to me that they moved to Northern California and you've got a kid from Phoenix thinking he's too cool for it. Like, what? Northern California is amazing, and Phoenix is lame. Like, he comes there and feels like, oh, you guys are come to California to rip on them for being an Arizonian. Get out of here, no way. And so, and then of course another iconic character of this film, even though he has no lines in the movie outside of singing, but you can't not bring this guy up because he still tours around horror conventions and everything, and is like, you know, a celebrity there. Everyone wants to take a picture with him. Yes, buff saxophone guy, whatever the hell his name is. He's an integral part of this movie. He really is. Like, when you bring up this movie, there's things that people talk about, and buff Sax Guy is going to be one of them. And then, so the security guard of the boardwalk tells them to get lost, so then they come back after him. We never do get to see them as bats or flying around. I don't know if they're turned into anything or if they're just flying. I would assume that they're just flying. I think that's the only way we see them in this, is just kind of swooping in and out. So I think they're just flying. I don't think they actually like turn like in some movies. But they swoop down, and I was laughing because the guy's like trying to get into his car, and he's got his body pressed against the door as he's trying to open the door. I'm like, you probably don't want to press your entire fat ass against the door if you're trying to open the thing hastily. So I found that to be pretty funny. I had to mention it. Michael, the first time he sees Star, he is a creeper. And I've always said this, and I stick to this. You are only creepy, you are only thought of as, you know, a stalker or a weirdo or whatever if the girl isn't into you. If the girl's into you, if the girl finds you as attractive as you do, then you're just being sweet. You're just being romantic. If you watch any romance movie, it totally paints this completely wrong picture for guys that don't get the picture. Like, oh, he stood out in the rain and he watched me while he was at work and he stalked me, and Sting sings about every breath you take and how romantic. And it's like, yeah, it's romantic when it's a dude that you also find attractive and you want. But when it's not, it's like, call the police. I'll say, I know this because I've worked with girls, you know, at a salon for many, many years, and like they'll get flowers from somebody, and they'll be, oh my god, it's that guy. Oh my god, he's such a creep, fucking gross. It's like, what a stalker, what a loser. Why doesn't he leave me alone? And then they'll get flowers from some guy. They're like, oh, he's cute. I know who he is. Oh, how romantic. He's amazing. I'm like, it's the same thing. How did the guy has to take a chance. You just have to risk being a fucking creeper to be, you know, to go after a chick. Yes, there's a line and people should understand it. You know, I'm not saying there isn't guys that don't get the hint, because there are. But in order to take that first shot, you really do have to risk being a total fucking creep. So if Jason Patric wasn't as sexy as he is in this movie, if he wasn't even, what if he was just some fucking random looking dude or whatever, and he was staring at Star like that, he would be a freaking, loser. He'd be like, get this freaking freak away from me. But he's staring so intently, like, wow, he's creeper, but he's hot and she's into it, so it's a romantic. And she goes and gets a job at a video store. I've always wanted to work at a video store, and no matter what I do, I could never get a damn job there. Such a damn shame. And at the video store, when the mom is on the phone, the freaking the girl in the background is Denise from summer school. She's like working there as well. She doesn't have a single line. She just looks back and like smiles, but that is clearly Denise. Why she doesn't have a role in this, I have no idea at all. She's amazing. Then Corey Haim goes and hangs out in a comic book store. I mean, they got like all my favorite locations here. They got a freaking boardwalk with like a roller coaster. They've got a comic book store. They got a VHS freaking rental store. They got like, that would have been my hangout, man. That would have been the coolest place to go. And then he goes in, he meets the Frog Brothers, Edgar and Alan Frog. And they try to give him a comic, and he says, I don't like horror comics. Immediately, this kid's out. Nope, absolutely not. And then, so these guys snatch a comic and run off, or a few of them, because this girl's like reading a comic in the car, and then you see on the dash there's like 15 other comics, and she's like laughing her ass off at this comic. It must be the funniest comic ever. I haven't known almost any girls to read comics. Very few. I can't think of a single one off the top of my head that actually like sit down and read comics like on a regular basis. Never. I've met girls that are into like, things that most chicks aren't into for sure, but comics, I don't know if have I ever met a comic book girl? Anyway, she just thinks this thing is the funniest thing. This guy's trying to get laid. The moral of this story, don't steal comics or you'll be killed by vampires, because they rip the damn roof off and go to town on these guys. And then, Corey Haim's a total comic book expert, seems to know everything about Superman. I guess he's trying to show off, but I love the interactions with him and the Frog Brothers. I think that's just classic stuff there. It's really fun. I love the way they try to give him the comic, all the stuff they're trying to say to him to scare him, and he just thinks it's all a big joke. And the way I love Corey Feldman and Corey Haim together when they were kids like this. It's just so great to watch. They play off each other so well. And then so Michael comes up to Star, and he is, he saw that David and her were together. Like, she's on the back of his bike. He comes up, and David pulls up on his bike there, and she's standing there, and he's like, "Come on, Star, let's get out of here." And it's like, you're trying to steal this guy's girlfriend right in front of him with 3 of his other rough, tough-looking dudes on motorcycles right back there. You are hardcore, buddy, or idiotic, or both. I'm not sure. And then she jumps on the back of the bike with him, and David invites him out. He's like, "You know where this is?" And he's like, "I can't beat your bike." And he's like, "You don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to keep up." And it's like, would you really, like, if you're trying to steal a guy's girlfriend and there's like 3 other dudes there that are, menacing looking and obviously are there looking for fights and whatnot, you're going to follow them out into a town you know nothing about with a bunch of people you don't know who probably want to beat the shit out of you, and he follows them, and then he almost runs them off of a freaking cliff, and he goes and he punches them, and then he's like, "Follow me back to this place," and they go, and it's like, this guy, Star, must just be it. I mean, she's beautiful, do not get me wrong, 100%, but in fucking Northern California, any part of California, there is a girl as hot as Star on every single fucking corner. And I don't mean like prostitution, although that too, but like there's a freaking girl everywhere that's a gorgeous freaking, top tier level hot. So he's love at first sight. He's going for it. He doesn't care what he has to do. He will die for Star. But yeah, she's gorgeous. I get it. Oh, I love that we see a reform school girls poster on Corey Haim's wall. Love it. No drink till lunch. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I need to rewatch it. I have it on DVD, and I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I was a big fan of it when I grew up. Now, the whole worms, maggots, sequences, I don't know what this is. Their suggestibility that vampires can make you see what they want you to see. Because this happens a few times in the movie, not just here, but in another scene as well. And I'm like, I don't understand, because they're like riding their motorcycles outside, and then like they open the door and there's nothing there. Like, they didn't fly off with their motorcycles. They fucking pull on a Hagrid or something, a flying motorcycle. I don't know. Like, they have powers of suggestion, and why isn't that utilized more? Maybe they explore that more in the sequels. I might have to check them out. So then he takes a drink from this like bedazzled wine bottle with somebody's blood in it. He thinks it's David's, but I think it's Max's probably. And then they go and they hang from the train track, which is another super iconic scene. And holy shit, like Michael is like one of those people who can be peer pressured into absolutely anything. Pussy, pansies, like freaking Marty McFly. What are you, chicken? And he's like, fine, I'll hang from a fucking train track with you guys. Get out of here. Hell no, I wouldn't go down there. What is he trying to prove? What does he have to prove at that point? Hell no. You guys hang. Ridiculous. He's hardcore, man, but stupid. Absolutely stupid. And then he falls. He falls and he wakes up in bed. And yeah. Sam, Corey Haim here. He's taking a bubble bath. A bubble bath? How old is this kid? A bubble bath? I mean, really? Wow, okay. And man, I mean, Michael gives into his urges here, and he actually goes to kill his brother, and the dog saves his life. Good thing for the dog. And he sees himself in the mirror as like a ghostly type figure, so I guess he's in that in-between stage. Like, before you feed, you still are like half human, half vampire, and that first time you feed, then you become full vamp, can't go in the sun, your reflection is completely gone. But I like that. I don't think I've ever seen that explored before. I can't think of another vampire movie where you're like half in between until you feed for the very first time. They don't really like illustrate that too much. Like, I think they just let you fill in the blanks, which is cool. But I definitely don't think that that's outright said or anything. He wakes up on the ceiling. How fucked up would that be? And then he starts floating out the window. It's freaking going back to Harry Potter. That reminds me of the what's her name? Oh shit! I can't believe I can't remember. The chick he blows up with a finger, and she goes out the door like a big balloon. Violet, you're turning violet. Yeah, that's weird. I can't believe I can't remember her name. And so he goes to Star to confront her. Michael goes to Star to confront her, and he's like, "What's happening to me?" And then she like kind of like kisses on him, and he's like, "All right, never mind. Let's fuck." Like, I'm turning into a ghost in front of the mirror. I'm craving human blood. I almost killed my brother. I fucking woke up on the ceiling, but you're hot. You want to fuck? I'm down. This is the mentality of a man. That is, like, no matter what's going on, a hot chick's like, want to fuck? And it's like, you know, that's a good idea. And as soon as we are done, I need answers. And the mom rushes home from her date, and he just, like, sloughs it off. Like, oh, sorry, I read a really scary comic. Holy shit, she handles this so much better than I would. I would be like, you son of a bitch. How dare you? And oh my god, okay, another thing, here we go. This woman is a fucking saint, or you know, a doormat, because she just lets people walk on her kids. She lets her both of her sons talk to her in ways and do things to her that I would never ever allow. And then when she goes over to Max's house and there's that dog out there and it chases her down, and freaking she has to jump over the fence, then the thing's breaking through the fence and she's jump, and he's like, he's like, oh, my dog's sorry, and the next time you come over, like, he promises he'll be better. And she's like, oh, okay. Whatever. No fucking way. No way. If I did that, if I had a dog, like, make no chick would ever come. She would never even speak to me again. She'd be like, what? Put your dog down. Oh my God, this chick's just like, what ups? And then Max comes over to the house for dinner, and they all do the test and trying to get him to admit that he's a vampire. Put garlic on his stuff and whatnot. It's pretty funny. And what is that? See them as you don't get to see them as actual vampires with like teeth and like makeup and all this stuff on their face until over an hour into the movie. They went the Jaws route. We're not going to actually show the monsters until an hour, and I think that works. I think that really builds it up, builds up the mystery, the intrigue, all that stuff. Really good stuff. Michael fights it really, really, really hard, man. You gotta give kudos to the guy's resilience. I think it says a lot about his character. And Star was supposed to kill Michael. We find out that Michael was supposed to be her first meal, and nor her or the kid that's with her has fed yet. And so then the Frog Brothers break into their little lair there, and I don't know if they're 100% positive on how vampires work, but if you're going to go hunting vampires and you're not 100% on how they work, if you haven't killed one yet, if you don't know if they even exist yet or whatever, you shouldn't probably go in there yelling at the top of your lungs to each other as you're trying to find their sleeping bodies. Like, how light of sleepers are they? You don't know. You're sitting in there yelling and they're still awake when they're in there? Come on now. And they sleep like bats, and he stakes freaking Ted Theodore Logan in the chest, and then they all chase him out, and they go, oh man. I like the sequences where they're like home aloneing the house and going, and they're filling up their holy water bottles and putting it into the bathtub and all. When they come in, then there's like a little baptism going on, and they're all just looking and they're like smile. I love it. Great stuff. Super fun. And then the dog comes and knocks the one dude into the water. The special effects makeup on him when he comes out of the water is pretty good stuff. I dug it. And then the whole house, for some reason, the piping, the plumbing, all that just bursts with blood. Not sure why. I don't really have an explanation for that one. It looked cool, but it doesn't really make any sense. And then he shoots an arrow at him, and then he misses, and he shoots the next, and not the next one, but or whatever the hell he says. And then, of course, the infamous line from Corey Haim here. All right, death by stereo. Cool stuff. And then, as I said, Kiefer is impaled on the antlers, and Max being the head vampire, I feel like, is extremely telegraphed in this movie. I would be surprised at how many people fell for him actually being the lead vampire in this. I don't know. But then Max actually, we find out that Max actually was the one who requested that David turn Michael, because he wanted to build a family. He wanted to be with the mom, and he did that, which I don't know. Does that line up? Because David says that, or Star tells Michael that David was trying to give her to him, but maybe she's saying, you were supposed to be my first meal. Maybe she tracked him down, like she was giving him the exchange. She was out there trying to hunt, and when she ran into him, she was like, okay, I'll this guy's creeping on me, I'll feed on him. But then when she got with him, but that seems very coincidental that out of all the people that she would pick the one guy that David was looking for because Max sent him to do this. It's coincidental. It's a movie. It's vampires. Like, it's all ridiculous anyways. But I don't know. I took it when I originally heard it, and I didn't even think of it till now, that she could have just been out there hunting. But I don't know if she's 100% clear on whether or not David was like this is going to be your first kill, Michael, which wouldn't really line up with Max. Although they come to Max's house later. But how much later? Oh, I'd have to look at this again. I feel like Michael has already drank the blood by this point when they pull up to his house, which they never explain, and that's like the big dead giveaway. Like, why would they come to his house, and why is he totally fine now and whatnot? So I think that's after, though. So I don't know. I don't know how that works. And then Grandpa comes in and kills Max, and he's like, the one thing I didn't like about this town is all the damn vampires, and everyone's stunned face. All right, guys, I got to get to bed. Samantha, thank you so much for being a patron. If anyone wants to go to Patreon, become a patron, you can request all sorts of different things. I have tier levels from $1 to $50. It's crazy. You can get all what you want. Anything helps, seriously. If all you got is $1, shit, man. As I've said before, if every one of my subscribers threw me $1 a month, I could do this full time. I wouldn't even have to have a job anymore. So if you ever think like $1's not enough, that's not, whatever, it is. And I will be extremely grateful for it. You get a shout out. And I will be very grateful. So check it out. Not trying to, shamelessly self-promote, but I am, because as I've said a million times, put a hell of a lot of time and work into this, and it is like 2:30 in the morning. I got a long day tomorrow. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you to everyone who watches. Good night.